day 68. Nancy Guthrie is still missing. And right now, federal agents are tearing apart security footage from a local Chevron station. The mainstream news cycle is caught up in the celebrity angle of this tragedy. They focus on the tears of a television host. They broadcast the public pleas for a mother to come home. But the actual criminal investigation has gone entirely digital. The active scene of the crime is no longer just a quiet residential street in Tucson. The hunt has shifted to the blockchain. The perpetrators demanded a ransom in Bitcoin. They thought cryptocurrency would make them invisible. They thought they could operate like digital ghosts, but investigators just caught a break. Authorities recently tracked a very specific transaction. Someone moved $152 through that anonymous wallet. It is a tiny digital footprint left by a highly sophisticated network. But even digital ghosts have to interact with the physical world. This is exactly where the local gas station comes into play. It sits right near the intersection of River Road and First Avenue. Why does the violent kidnapping of a 84-year-old woman lead the FBI to a rundown convenience store? We are looking at a highly calculated extraction. This was absolutely not a random burglary gone wrong. The attackers knew what they were doing. They wore masks. They disabled the security cameras. They used encrypted digital currency to hide their financial tracks. Yet they somehow anchored themselves to a mundane physical location just a few miles from the crime scene. There is a massive disconnect here. It is a contradiction that investigators are desperately trying to solve. The perpetrators are either criminal masterminds or they made a catastrophic rookie mistake. Evil always leaves a trace behind. Sometimes it is a drop of blood on a front porch. Sometimes it is a line of code on a public ledger. My name is John. My mission is to follow these traces until we find the answers. If you want to track this evidence with me, you need to subscribe to Tracking Evil with John right now. We are breaking down every single update in this ongoing case as it happens. We analyze the facts that the daily news segments skip over. We will not stop digging until the final piece of this puzzle is found. So hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. You do not want to miss the details we are uncovering today. Let us get you caught up on the verified facts. It is the night of January 31st. Tommaso Cioni drops his 84-year-old mother-in-law off at her home. The time is exactly 9:50. He watches her go inside. Cioni is the last known person to see Nancy Guthrie alive. The Pima County Sheriff has completely cleared him as a suspect. We need to eliminate the family theories right now. Do not get distracted by internet rumors about the relatives. The real threat came from the outside. Sometime after Cioni drives away, the property is breached. Surveillance cameras capture the intruder lurking in the dark. The suspect is heavily concealed. They are wearing a ski mask and dark winter gloves. They are carrying a tactical backpack. They are armed with a firearm. The attacker forces entry into the quiet home. The next morning, Nancy fails to appear for her scheduled online church service. Panic sets in immediately. First responders rush to the address. They find the back door wide open to the elements. There is fresh blood on the porch. The Ring doorbell camera has been violently ripped from its mount. The house is completely empty. Nancy relies on daily prescription medication to survive. She has a pacemaker regulating her heart. Every single second she is separated from her medical care severely increases the risk to her life. The local authorities immediately issue urgent alerts across the state. The FBI quickly takes over the crime scene. That is the baseline narrative everyone already knows. You have seen the press conferences. You have read the police bulletins. But the surface level timeline is missing the most crucial detail. There is a massive blind spot in the official public narrative. The mainstream media timeline jumps straight from 9:50 at night to the next morning. They are completely ignoring a massive gap. They skip over a 4.5-hour window of pure silence. The real nightmare did not begin when the sun came up and the door was found open. The terrifying reality of this case started in the dead of night. It began exactly at 2:28 in the morning. The medical device monitoring Nancy is not just a piece of hardware. It is a constant digital tether. It transmits vital heart rhythm data continuously. It sends this information to a receiving station beside her bed. The system requires proximity to function. It needs an active connection to log the heartbeat. We know exactly when that tether breaks. The digital log shows a complete loss of signal at 2:28 in the morning. The data stream simply vanishes. There is no warning. There is no slow degradation of the signal. It is an abrupt and permanent silence. We have to examine the forensic implications of this exact minute. A pacemaker connection does not drop for no reason. There are only two ways to sever this specific type of medical telemetry. The first method is physical destruction of the home receiver. The second method is distance. The wearer is forcibly removed from the wireless range of the base station. Both scenarios point to the exact moment of the abduction. This establishes a terrifying timeline. Tommaso drives away at 9:50. The digital silence begins at 2:28. We are looking at a window of 270 minutes, 4.5 hours of absolute darkness. The official police statements do not address this massive gap. They do not explain what occurs inside the residence during this time. We have to ask why the attacker waits so long. They are on the property. They disable the surveillance camera on the front porch. They establish dominance over the perimeter. Then they simply wait. This is not the behavior of a panicked burglar. A common thief breaks in and grabs valuables and runs. This perpetrator demonstrates chilling patience. They secure the environment and wait for the optimal moment to move. They know there is a medical device in play. They know the victim is elderly. They calculate the exact time to cut the digital cord. The extraction is methodical. It is a highly sophisticated operation executed with extreme precision. They leave behind a nearly sterile crime scene. They leave only a single trace of blood on the doorframe. They operate like phantoms in the physical world. They shift their demands into the digital realm with the Bitcoin ransom. They want to remain anonymous. They want to hide behind encrypted layers of the blockchain. But the digital world always intersects with the physical one. You cannot exist entirely online. You have to buy gas. You have to drive a vehicle. You have to connect to a network. This brings us to the most baffling contradiction in the entire investigation. These ghosts are currently being hunted at a neighborhood convenience store. Federal agents are sweeping every inch of video from a Chevron station on River Road. They are pulling footage from a nearby Circle K. These are standard gas stations located just a few miles from the victim's house. Why is a cyber ransom case focused on the local gas pumps? We're looking at two highly probable theories. The first involves the physical escape route. According to a neighborhood witness, a suspicious vehicle was spotted that night. They report seeing a plain white cargo van parked near the street. The timeline of this alleged van matches the exact window the FBI is targeting at the gas stations. Vehicles need fuel. A heavily loaded van leaving a crime scene might need to stop. Did the suspect drive straight from the extraction point to a brightly lit Chevron? The second theory connects the gas station directly to the ransom demand. The attackers want $34,000 in Bitcoin. They need a way to receive this cryptocurrency anonymously. Gas stations like this often host Bitcoin ATM machines. These kiosks allow individuals to interact with the blockchain using cash. They offer a layer of separation from traditional banking systems. Did the masked intruder stand in a convenience store to generate the digital wallet? Did they use a local ATM to initiate the extortion plot? This theory gains massive traction when we look at the blockchain ledger itself. The public ledger records every single movement of cryptocurrency. The ransom wallet sits empty for days. Then, a sudden spike occurs on February 10th. The wallet receives a deposit. It is not the massive sum demanded in the letter. The ledger shows an incoming transfer of exactly $152. This number makes absolutely no sense on the surface. Why send such a specific and tiny amount? In the world of digital extortion, this is known as a test transaction. Criminals send a small fraction of funds to verify the wallet is active. They need to ensure the network is functioning before they demand the full ransom. It is a technical check. But who initiated it? Did the kidnappers test their own system? Did an outside party stumble upon the address? Or is this a deliberate taunt directed at the federal agents monitoring the chain? The blockchain is completely public but entirely anonymous. We can see the money move, but we cannot see who is moving it. I want to know how you interpret this specific dollar amount. Drop your theories in the comment section below and let me know why they chose $152 We need to dissect every angle of this digital trail. If you want to follow this ledger with me, make sure you subscribe to Tracking Evil with John. We are analyzing every block and every transaction as they happen. The contradiction here is staggering. We have suspects who can disable smart home security and navigate encrypted finance networks. They mask their digital footprints with extreme prejudice. Yet they potentially drive an identifiable white van to a gas station covered in high-definition cameras. Why do these alleged cyber professionals commit the ultimate physical rookie mistake? The biggest obstacle in this case is not the digital encryption. It is reportedly the catastrophic failure of the initial police response. According to News Nation, the first responders made a massive assumption. They arrived at the empty house. They saw the open door. They reportedly concluded that an elderly woman simply wandered off into the night. They treated it as a routine missing senior citizen case. They did not immediately secure the area as a violent crime scene. This single reported decision cost investigators the most critical hours of the hunt. Precious time evaporated while they allegedly searched the immediate neighborhood for a wandering woman. They should have been locking down the perimeter. They should have been establishing a wide forensic grid. They should have been pulling street cameras before the trail went cold. First responders hold the integrity of an entire investigation in their hands. When they hesitate, the evidence degrades. When they assume they contaminate the scene. The blood on the porch was exposed to the open air. The physical footprint of the attackers was compromised. Every minute that passed allowed the suspects to put miles between themselves and the house. This reported delay is a massive systemic failure. It forces the FBI to play catch up from a severe disadvantage. They are working from a contaminated starting line. They have to piece together a heavily fragmented physical scene. This puts immense pressure on the digital evidence. The blockchain becomes the only untainted witness, but the blockchain only tells half the story. We have to look at the severe medical reality of this physical situation. Nancy is 84 years old. Her life depends on a strict regimen of daily prescription medication. Her heart rhythm is artificially regulated by a specialized medical device. She is extremely fragile. You do not survive days without this exact level of medical support. Yet the timeline stretches on relentlessly. We are looking at weeks of absolute silence. This creates a terrifying contradiction. How does a highly tactical strike team keep a critically ill hostage alive in an undisclosed location? The logistics of providing specialized medical care while on the run are nearly impossible. A medical emergency would force them into a local hospital and expose their entire operation. This harsh reality forces investigators to ask a very dark question. Are we tracking the actual kidnappers, or are we tracking opportunistic scammers? The internet is full of digital predators. They watch the daily news cycle. They see the reported police delays. They see a desperate family and a highly publicized federal search. It is entirely possible that an unrelated third party set up that Bitcoin wallet. They could be actively exploiting the contaminated timeline. They demand a massive crypto ransom because they know the family is desperate for any shred of hope. This makes the entire investigation infinitely more complex. Federal agents are not just hunting the armed men on the porch. They are forced to sort through layers of digital noise and potential extortion fraud. We are tracking a suspect who is either a medical mastermind or a cold-blooded digital scammer. This is exactly why you need to hit subscribe right now. We are exposing every layer of this deception as the FBI digs deeper. This case is a labyrinth of digital lies and physical dead ends. The medical clock ran out weeks ago. The police allegedly lost the initial physical trail. The only thing left to analyze is the ransom demand itself, and every working theory about that crypto ransom is about to be violently overturned. A new development just surfaced in early April. It changes the entire geographical nature of this manhunt. The entire dynamic of this extortion plot shifts violently as weeks turn into months. The investigation faces a terrifying new reality regarding the digital ransom. We have to analyze the psychological warfare of demanding cryptocurrency for a human life. Kidnappers traditionally want unmarked bills left in a physical drop location. They want briefcases left under bridges or in crowded public transit stations. Physical money requires physical proximity. It forces the suspects to expose themselves to law enforcement surveillance. They have to physically retrieve the bag and risk immediate capture. But this network demands a purely digital transaction on the blockchain. They bypass the physical drop entirely. They eliminate the risk of a sniper or a tactical ambush. This changes the entire nature of the hostage negotiation protocol. The FBI is dealing with an invisible entity operating through encrypted code. The authorities cannot trace a physical location from a digital wallet address. They can only watch the public ledger and wait for movement. This creates an unbearable psychological pressure on the entire community. The suspects hold all the leverage while remaining completely hidden. They control the narrative from behind a wall of digital anonymity. They dictate the terms without ever stepping into the light. This is not a standard abduction. This is a highly evolved cybercrime intersecting with physical violence. The intersection of these two worlds is our most critical data point. We have to look closely at that alleged white van again. A witness reported this specific vehicle near the crime scene. We have to connect this physical van to the digital extortion. The federal agents are scouring the Chevron station for a very specific reason. They are not just looking for a random suspect buying fuel. They are looking for the moment the digital and physical worlds collide. The attackers needed a secure way to initiate the Bitcoin wallet. They needed an untraceable network connection to send the ransom demand. Public gas stations often provide free wireless internet access. They often host physical kiosks that convert cash into anonymous cryptocurrency. Did the driver of that alleged white van pull into the Chevron? Did they sit in the parking lot and connect to the public network? Did they establish the extortion wallet while hiding in plain sight? This theory bridges the terrifying gap between the physical and the digital. It explains why a cybercriminal would risk a heavily surveilled physical location. They needed the anonymity of a public network to launch the digital strike. This completely alters how we view the perpetrators. They are not untouchable hackers operating from a foreign country. They are likely local individuals who understand both tactical, physical entry, and digital encryption. They are right here in the community. They are navigating the same streets and using the same gas stations. This proximity makes the crime infinitely more chilling. They watched the house and they disabled the physical security. They took an 84-year-old woman with severe medical needs. Then they simply vanished into the local digital infrastructure. The tension surrounding this realization is absolutely suffocating. The people responsible for this nightmare are not ghosts. They are flesh and blood criminals leaving a highly fragmented trail. We are tracking every single one of those fragments. We are not letting this case go cold. If you demand the truth, you need to hit that subscribe button right now. Join Tracking Evil with John and help us analyze every new detail. We are building the most accurate timeline of this ongoing investigation. The medical reality of the victim heavily influences this digital manhunt. Nancy Guthrie relies on a pacemaker and daily prescription medication. Her survival depends entirely on continuous medical support. A tactical strike team cannot provide this level of specialized care. They cannot walk into a pharmacy to refill her prescriptions. They cannot take her to an emergency room if her heart fails. This brutal fact forces us to confront a horrifying possibility. The hostage situation may have transitioned very early in the timeline. The perpetrators might be negotiating for a life they can no longer sustain. The digital ransom might be a cruel facade. They could be exploiting the family's hope to extract a massive payout. This turns the digital ledger into a tool of absolute psychological torture. We are watching a blinking cursor on a blockchain. We are waiting for a sign of life that may never come. This is exactly where the active investigation stands today. There is no clean resolution and there are no easy answers. Law enforcement remains locked in a high-stakes digital standoff. They are fighting a war against an enemy they cannot physically see. The authorities are maintaining strict operational silence to protect the case. They are not releasing new security footage. They are not discussing the specifics of the blockchain analysis. This blackout is necessary, but it is agonizing for the public. It leaves massive questions completely unanswered. We have two major unresolved issues that dictate the future of this case. The first question involves the actual physical location of the victim. If the alleged white van was the transport vehicle, where did it go? The suspects had a 4.5-hour head start. They had enough time to cross state lines or disappear into the desert. The FBI has to expand their physical grid while maintaining the digital watch. The second question revolves entirely around the test transaction. Someone moved exactly $152 into that wallet. Was it a taunt from the kidnappers? Was it a technical check by an opportunistic scammer? We do not know who controls the keys to that digital vault. The identity of the extortionist remains the most critical unknown variable. The lack of answers does not mean the investigation is failing. It means the authorities are meticulously building a trap. They are waiting for the suspects to make a critical operational error. They are waiting for the digital funds to move to a physical exchange. The criminals have to cash out eventually. They cannot hide behind encrypted code forever. The moment they attempt to withdraw the money, the trap will snap. The FBI will trace the connection and the digital ghost will become a physical suspect. Until that happens, we have to remain incredibly vigilant. This violent threat is still active and the perpetrators are completely free. They possess the capability to breach a home and manipulate advanced digital networks. They represent a severe and ongoing danger to the entire community. We will continue to cover every single development as it breaks. We will analyze every transaction and every new piece of alleged physical evidence. The timeline is fragmented, but the pursuit is relentless. We are watching the ledger and we are waiting for the truth. 4.5 hours passed between the door closing and the medical monitor failing. In that suffocating darkness, what truly happened to Nancy Guthrie? Digital anonymity always has a physical blind spot. You can encrypt your hard drive. You can mask your internet protocol address across a dozen foreign servers. You can demand $34,000 in untraceable cryptocurrency. But eventually, every digital extortionist hits a physical wall. They have to extract the actual value from the decentralized network. They have to turn code into usable cash. This conversion process requires physical infrastructure. It requires a machine connected to an active network. It requires a human being standing in front of a camera lens. This unavoidable interaction is the exact vulnerability federal agents are targeting right now. Criminals view places like the Chevron on River Road as convenient financial hubs. They see an unmonitored public internet connection. They see an automated teller machine tucked away in the corner of a convenience store. But investigators see a heavily surveilled choke point. Every single transaction at a modern gas station leaves a massive secondary data trail. The high-definition security cameras capture the make and model of every approaching vehicle from multiple angles. The local cellular towers record a ping from every mobile device operating in the immediate radius. The merchant system logs the exact timestamp of every network request made on the property. This creates a dense web of circumstantial data. Law enforcement simply has to find the one data point that overlaps. They are looking for the exact moment the digital wallet connects to a physical suspect caught on video. The perpetrators thought they were executing a flawless cybercrime against a highly vulnerable 84-year-old target. They believed the complex encryption of the blockchain would completely protect their identities. They failed to fully calculate the physical risk of the ransom demand. The moment they initiated the transfer, they stepped into a physical trap. The digital world is infinite, but the physical world has strict boundaries. The suspects still have to navigate the real world. They have to buy supplies. They have to drive their vehicle. They have to fuel their transport at a local pump. This fundamental reality of criminal behavior is exactly why investigators have never stopped hunting for that alleged white van. That vehicle represents the physical bridge to the digital extortion. We are tracking suspects who are currently navigating both of these dangerous environments. The investigation is actively trying to close the agonizing distance between a cryptocurrency wallet and a local Arizona street. This manhunt is nowhere near its final conclusion. We are dealing with an incredibly fluid and volatile situation involving an elderly hostage. Nancy Guthrie desperately needs immediate medical intervention. Her reliance on a pacemaker changes the entire dynamic of this prolonged abduction. Every single hour that passes shifts the operational reality on the ground. The mainstream media cycle will eventually drop this case when the next high-profile scandal breaks. The national networks will stop updating the timeline and move on to the next headline. We will absolutely not stop. Tracking Evil with John is dedicated exclusively to following every single digital trace and physical clue left behind. You need to ensure you are subscribed right now so you do not miss the next critical update. The landscape of this investigation is going to shift violently again. We will be here to break down every new piece of security tape and every single movement on that public ledger. We will continue to hold the authorities accountable for every reported delay at the initial crime scene. We are watching the intersection of First Avenue and River Road. We are watching the blockchain for the next transaction. Someone out there knows exactly why the medical telemetry failed in the middle of the night. They know exactly where the transport vehicle went after fleeing the neighborhood. The digital tether snapped at 2:28 in the morning and left behind a suffocating silence. We will keep tracking the evidence until that silence finally breaks.